Long story short, I needed to multiply myself to survive.
I hope it'll make some people cry and it will make people think. I think more than any other game I've ever done, it will make people ask questions of themselves. And I was chatting with a guy as he was playing the first sort of hour, 2 hours of the game. And he was crying. He was like, this is just making me think about so many things in my own life. I went, oh, that's great. No, that's not great, because that means that you are, I'm so sorry that you had that, but also it's great that you have this experience with this game where you can kind of have this moment of catharsis. If he had that in the first couple of hours, that's just setting everything up for where the game goes.
It's a survival game, but with a very personal twist. We always were saying, like, we want to hang out in a bar with a different version of myself. You know, you're getting into these deep conversations, like this moment when you broke up, like, how was it? Like, how did you feel in that moment? Because I didn't feel it. I felt it differently because my life was a bit different. That's why we decided, you know, to have the dialogue system and the whole emotional system, that through dialogues we are affecting the emotions and the efficiency of the alters. It's all interconnected because we want to have those conversations that mean something, both gameplay-wise and narrative-wise.
My name is Jan Dolsky. Yeah, sure. You got my looks, why not use my name too?
I remember early on I was watching this documentary on Netflix, like showing 3 triplets risen up in very different circumstances, different environment, how it affected them when we were defining how to portray different alters. And with Alex Jordan, the main character playing all the Jans, we're talking about, okay, how much should they differ? Because you don't want to go overboard, it's going to be cartoonish. But then, if they're too close with their voices, you want to be able to tell the difference. So that you could close your eyes and immediately know, okay, that's the refiner, or that's the scientist, or that's the botanist.
It really helped me shake off all this anxiety. Is there any way I can go back to my life? People are fed up with how you're running this mission.
Physically, I will change the way I hold myself. For one of them, the scientist who's really, really precise, there's little things like on the beat of what I'm saying, I try to touch the tips of my fingers. It's this idea of precision, but also everything he's saying is really thought about. But there are stylistic choices that we've made. Some of them will have different accents from one another. So certain characters that are more laid back might be a little bit more West Coast, and then some who are a little bit more sort of like streetwise might be a little bit more Northeast America.
I love the moment of creating new alter and waiting for him to speak, to figure out, like, immediately in the first conversation, who is this guy? It can be so surprising, and you can have some assumptions, but many times we're playing with those assumptions, with those expectations.
The miner has destructive tendencies, while the botanist is still in love with your ex-wife.
There's a million different reasons why someone might decide to travel to a distant planet. I think mainly for Jan, it's adventure and exploration into understanding kind of himself and kind of going, right, well, things haven't gone well in my life so far, screw it. That looks like it might be something that might help me understand myself and why things have gone wrong, but also a nice distraction. Jan is kind of running away from some of his problems. He's a guy who came from a rough family background, a rough home. There is a sense of coming to terms with who he is, who he was, who he could be. I hope that when people play it, they will have a similar sort of feeling about their own life. But I really hope that there will be a sense of it being a catalyst for some people finishing the game and going, do you know what? That's holding me back, or I should have done this. And maybe I regret that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's done now. I need to put it behind me. There's so many different things in this game. Every single altar has their own problem or desire or regret. It's helping one altar realize something about themselves, helping them better themselves.
This base needs you to operate.
That's what I have my altars for.
Work isn't everything. You can't ignore their personal needs.
Sometimes I feel like everything here is personal.
And I think it's something that all of us would love to be able to do, right? I would love to speak to an alternate timeline version of myself, and I'm open about this. So I was bullied at school, and I realized that if I could do voices and make them laugh, then maybe they wouldn't punch me. I would love to find, like, what would be like another alter who, like, how did they channel that feeling What if I had decided, okay, well instead I'm going to go down the gym as a teenager and get really, really big? Would I be off doing some sport thing or bodybuilding? Or would I fundamentally still be the same person? Or would I feel like I was talking to an entirely different human being just with my face? I love that idea. I love that.
So I think if you like Subnautica and Persona, that's the game for you.
I say about Dungeons and Dragons, it's not therapy, but it's like therapy. That's the same thing with this game.
The Altars releases on June 13th, 2025 on PC, Xbox, and PS5.